The yearning to be seen and included, the bravery it takes to put yourself out there, and that crushing moment when the world doesn't meet your courage with kindness. Chapter 1: Echo in the Backyard. Emma adored her next-door neighbor, Max. He was 15, cool in that effortless, older boy way. The boys in her class were still obsessed with potty humor, but Max and his friends? They laughed loudly, told stories about freshman adventures, and strummed guitars like they were born to be on stage. At 11, Emma watched them from her kitchen window like a tiny spy, sipping juice boxes and memorizing every joke. She wanted to be part of that world. She remembered Max laughing at her knock-knock joke last summer. He thought she was funny once. Maybe she could show him she was both talented and funny. One sunny Saturday, Max invited his friends over. They sprawled across the backyard like kings of summer, flipping through their phones and tossing a frisbee. Emma peeked out from behind the curtains, her heart hammering with a plan she'd been preparing for days, ever since she heard the boys talk about their friend Maddie trying out for a school play. She had discovered it in an old movie musical, The Sound of Music. She loved the bright trills and joyful echoes bouncing off mountaintops. It was weird, loud, wild, and funny fun. It was just the thing, she thought, to make Max and his friends notice her. Emma practiced in her room for hours, YouTube videos blaring as she twisted her voice into high-pitched melodies. It had taken her 3 solid days to get the yodel right, and she felt like a Swiss mountain princess. Now was the moment. She stepped out into the sunlight, heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The grass tickled her toes. No one had noticed her yet. Max and his friends were lounging in the grass, passing around a bag of chips. Perfect. She took a breath so deep it felt like it might lift her off the ground, then let it out in one wild, echoing cry. But just before that, in the quiet seconds as she stood barefoot in the sun, Emma imagined how it might go. Max would turn first, his eyebrows lifting in surprise, then in delight. One of his friends would nudge the other and say, "Wait, was that Emma?" Maybe they'd cheer. Maybe they'd clap. Maybe Max would grin like he used to, toss her a nickname like Swiss Miss or say something goofy, the way he did last summer when they built a backyard fort together. Maybe, for just one golden minute, she wouldn't be the awkward little neighbor watching from the window, she'd be part of the moment. Part of them. Her chest buzzed with nerves and hope, wound so tightly together she thought she might float or explode. She wanted to matter in that backyard. She wanted to be seen, not as a kid, but as someone brave, someone surprising. Someone worth noticing. This was it. She threw her head back and let the yodel rip free. The yodel sailed out like a cannonball of joy, perfectly pitched, echoing off the fence. Then, silence. The air felt different, like the moment before a storm. Chip crunching paused. A frisbee lay abandoned. Even the birds seemed unsure whether to chirp. Max turned. His friends froze mid-chew, mid-laugh, mid-breath. A full 10 seconds passed, heavy and awkward. Emma swallowed.
I've been practicing,
she said, suddenly very aware of her bare feet and sunburned nose. No one laughed. No one clapped. The moment just hung there like a balloon with no helium. Emma nodded once, cheeks hot, and walked slowly back inside. Max was stunned and felt for Emma, but what could he say that didn't make matters worse? He blinked, still half frozen. The echo of her yodel hadn't even faded, and already the moment felt like something slipping out of his hands. He'd seen the look on her face, that flicker of hope, that beat of vulnerability before she turned and walked away like she was trying not to run. He wanted to say something. Anything. But his throat felt dry. The guys were all watching each other, waiting for someone to react, to set the tone. A laugh? A joke? Was it funny? Was it cringy? No one knew. He felt the weight of their silence pressing against his ribs. If he clapped or said it was cool, would they think he was weird? Worse, would Emma feel like he was making fun of her? He hated this part of himself, the way his tongue stuck to the roof of his mouth when it mattered most. He wasn't proud of it, but there it was, the fear of looking uncool, of being the guy who said the wrong thing and made everything worse. So he hesitated. Just a second too long. Then Brendan shrugged. The moment fractured. "Wow," Max finally said, trying to slice through the awkward silence with a joke. "You show up at my place and don't even applaud the entertainment? I mean, this was the best live performance in my backyard since Brendan tried to rap in 6th grade. One kid laughed awkwardly. Another shrugged. "Nothing that I didn't expect from Max," added Brendan, but not cruelly, more baffled than anything. But Emma was already halfway to the door, heat rising in her face. She didn't wait to hear what came next. Emma sprinted up the stairs, 2 at a time. Her footsteps barely registered over the roar of shame in her ears. Her room, usually a haven of books and drawings, felt too bright. Too exposed. She slammed the door, slid down, and hit the floor with a soft thud. Her chest heaved in jagged breaths. Arms wrapped around her knees, she buried her face. No sobs, no tears, just the echo of silence, louder than anything she'd ever heard. She tried to swallow it down, to breathe past it, but the silence made it worse. Then, quietly, like a dam finally cracking, the tears began to fall, one, then another, until they came in waves she couldn't stop. Her shoulders shook with the weight of it all. There was a knock. Soft. Hesitant. Your mom said it was okay for me to come up," came a voice. It was Max. She didn't answer. The door creaked open anyway, and a moment later, he slid down beside her without a word. They sat in silence, the only sound the occasional sniffle as Emma tried to pull herself back together. When her sobs finally started to ease, he nudged her gently with his elbow. "I didn't even know you could sing," he said in a low voice. Emily sniffled.
My singing is horrible.
"Not at all," he said. "It just surprised us. I mean, yodeling. Isn't that what Swiss shepherds do to yell over sheep?" He grinned. "Next time, give me a heads up." Brendan almost choked on a chip. "I thought I was gonna have to Heimlich him." Emma laughed, the sound small but real. "Weird," he added. "But the good kind. You were brave out there. I admire that." Emma looked at him sideways, trying to figure out if he meant it. He did. His voice didn't have that half-mocking edge the older boys usually carried when they talked to someone younger. It was quiet. Sincere. Max nudged her again. "You know, I'm gonna tell people my neighbor is secretly a Swiss pop star." Emma gave a half-smile. Her face was puffy, and her nose was stuffy, and she still felt like crawling into a hole, but a little warmth broke through the cracks. She leaned her head against his shoulder. He didn't flinch. He just stayed there, solid and still, like he understood. They sat like that for a long while, the afternoon sun slanting through the curtains, catching dust motes in golden light. The echo in the backyard hadn't earned her applause or laughter. It hadn't made her part of the group. But maybe it had done something else. Maybe it had shown Max a piece of her he hadn't seen before, courage. Sure, it was eccentric, quirky, even wacky. But Max had said it himself, it was courageous. And maybe that was enough. For now, that was enough.
Okay guys, I didn't see it at first, but now I do. There's something freeing about surviving embarrassment. Once the worst has happened, you realize it didn't end you. Boldness and self-worth isn't transactional. It doesn't require applause to be real. It just needs you to act.